Grand Rising, guys. Hi. Hi. Good morning. It's breakfast. Welcome back to another episode. Guys, we're going to give our attention to truckers so that we can assure of their safety so that they can stay safe because without them, we cannot receive our freight as swiftly as we do. Okay? They are very important to our society, communities, and our world. So let's give them kudos for doing all that they do for us, and let's keep them in our prayers for their safety. Okay, this is where you have to put your attention to things that matters that could affect our everyday living. So let's begin. Please do pay attention and shout out to all the truckers out there. Whoop whoop. Sorry, guys, I had to
That
do it.
ordinary bad moment is exactly what somebody's been waiting for. The crews who work these corridors don't want you rolling. They want you stopped. And there's a short list of American roads where being stopped for any reason, even a real emergency, is the single worst thing that can happen to you. Tonight, we're ranking 15 of them, from bad to the worst in the country. Not the lazy version with a bunch of big city names you already know. We went down to the exact
Okay, let's
exits,
go.
corridors,
Tell us about
and in
it.
one
Truckers,
case, a
tune
single
in.
truck stop that drivers warn each other about on Channel 19. Every spot here has hard 2025 numbers behind it or a reputation that's been repeating for decades. Wait till you get to the top, because one of these roads has its own dedicated FBI task force, and a national retail company thought one specific stop on this list was dangerous enough to put on a written do not stop list handed to its drivers. Let's get into it. Number 15, the right shoulder, anywhere in America. We start with the one that isn't a city at all. It's the strip of pavement you were taught to think of as safe.
Subscribe as you guys enter in.
Federal crash data shows roughly 40% of fatal large truck crashes happen on interstates, and the shoulder is where a stopped driver becomes a stationary target at highway speed. Safety researchers estimate that around 610 people are killed every year standing in the roadway or on the shoulder of American interstates, about 1 in 8 of all interstate deaths. Here's the mechanism, and it's ugly because it's so simple. A tired four-wheeler at 2 in the morning sees your lights, and his fatigued brain tells him those lights belong to a truck in the right lane, so he steers toward them to follow you. Except you're not moving.
Subscribe to the
That's
channel,
how drivers
guys.
get
Please
killed
subscribe.
setting out triangles, changing a tire, or just standing near the cab making a phone call to dispatch. It's why the veterans exit on the passenger side and climb behind the guardrail before they even look at the problem. The cost here is your life for a task that could have waited 2 exits. So the rule that governs this entire list starts right here. If the truck is limping but rolling, you nurse it to a real exit with a ramp and a lit lot. The shoulder is not a rest area. It's the most dangerous 10 feet on the interstate, and it doesn't care that your emergency is legitimate. Number 14, Interstate 880, Oakland, California. Now we put it on a map. The Nimitz Freeway is the main truck artery in and out of the Port of Oakland, which means heavy commercial traffic packed bumper to bumper through one of the most shooting-prone freeways in the Bay Area. Local news has a running file of Interstate 880 freeway shootings that shut lanes for hours, and the corridor gets tangled up in illegal sideshows that box traffic in on the roadway itself. The scale of the underlying crime problem is the part that should get your attention. When the California Highway Patrol surged extra officers into the East Bay, they recovered more than 2,000 stolen vehicles in roughly 8 months. That's the ecosystem your loaded trailer is parked in when the freeway locks up and you're sitting still on the Nimitz. For a driver, the danger window is any forced stop, a breakdown, or a crash ahead on a corridor where being stationary means being exposed to gunfire and chaos you had no part in starting. The cost isn't just a load, it can be a windshield you didn't ask for. If Interstate 880 is crawling and you've got a choice, take the surface route or wait it out somewhere with a fence. This is not a freeway where you want to be, the truck that's stopped when something kicks off. Number 13, Interstate 95 in the Port of Baltimore, Maryland.
Port of
Baltimore
Baltimore.
earns this spot two ways.
Please
First,
subscribe,
it has become a
guys.
serious cargo theft market, and the crews there developed a taste for something unusual.
This is big business, guys, for criminals. Please pay attention.
Metals. Local reporting citing CargoNet found thieves in the Baltimore area zeroing in on steel, nickel, cobalt, and tin, with the average stolen shipment value in the region climbing to around $312,000.
Whoa.
Second, the Port of Baltimore is a known export chute for stolen goods.
This is what ports look
Customs
like, guys, in
officers
case you
describe
guys
a
didn't know.
consistent trick. Stolen vehicles are concealed inside shipping containers under a manifest that reads household goods. The Baltimore area CBP field office alone recovered 250 stolen vehicles worth $9.6 million
Oh my
in a single year.
goodness.
But the reason this road makes a never stop list
This
is
is
what happens to
cray,
drivers
guys.
who slow down in the wrong spot. On one Interstate 95 ramp in southeast Baltimore, a driver who came to a stop behind a car straddling the shoulder line had a man walk up to the window, grab his arm, and take his jewelry before the car reversed and fled up the ramp. That's the whole play. A fake obstruction that turns your reasonable decision to stop into a robbery. The cost here is a load of high-value metal gone, or a driver robbed it.
With all times that an 18-wheeler weigh, I would have ran that truck over respectfully. No, because you're bringing upon a threat. You're trying to rob me, and I'm in all this 18-wheeler ton. I'm going to run you over. Let's continue. Please subscribe, guys.
At a dead stop on an off-ramp. If a car is stopped somewhere it shouldn't be and it's forcing you to halt in a bad area, that's not always bad luck. Sometimes it's the setup. Leave room, keep rolling if you safely can, and get to a real facility before you deal with anything. Number 12, Interstate 75 and the Ambassador Bridge, Detroit, Michigan. Detroit is a port city with a bridge to Canada, and that combination turned it into an export machine for stolen vehicles. Michigan has seen a roughly 48% spike in car thefts, with organized crews recruiting juveniles to grab vehicles cheap, strip the tracking, and cut them down to fit inside containers labeled auto parts. Federal prosecutors recently charged a ring that was shipping stolen Detroit vehicles overseas to markets like Iraq and Dubai. For a trucker, the danger on the Interstate 75 and Interstate 94 corridors feeding the Ambassador Bridge is that this is professional territory. The same organizations moving stolen cars in containers are perfectly happy to relieve you of a trailer. And a truck sitting near the border crossing with...
Guys, if you do not know what corridor means, I'm not going to tell you the definition. Look it up. Corridor. They usually use that word in hotels. Just look it up, or I'll tell you the answer. I want you to learn words, guys, as you tune into All in Eckline Lifestyle. Get your vocabulary up. All in Eckline Lifestyle, okay?
With time to kill is a truck being evaluated. Add Detroit's own reputation for freeway violence, and a forced stop here carries weight that a stop in a quieter metro simply doesn't. The cost is a load that vanishes into the same container pipeline as everybody else's stolen property, headed for a port and gone before your safety department finishes its coffee. If you're staging for a border appointment, do it inside a secured yard, not on a frontage road near the bridge where you're one more asset in a very organized market. Number 11, Interstate 70, exit 246A, St. Louis, Missouri. This one's a single address, and that's the point. There's a Love's on North Broadway in St. Louis, just off Interstate 70, that has circulated for years on driver do not stop lists and not just driver forums. The version drivers pass around traces back to the asset protection team at L Brands, the corporate parent behind Bath and Body Works and Victoria's Secret. A national retailer's security department looked at this specific truck stop in this specific high crime pocket of North St. Louis and decided it belonged on a written list of places their freight should not stop. That's the tell. When a company that ships millions of dollars of product a week flags one exit by name, it's not being dramatic. It's protecting its loads and its drivers from a spot with a documented problem. The mechanism is the neighborhood. It's a lit, convenient, perfectly normal-looking fuel stop right where a driver coming through St. Louis on Interstate 70 would naturally pull in, and it sits in an area where break-ins and worse are common enough to earn corporate attention. The cost is the usual St. Louis story: a cut lock, a lightened trailer, or a driver who didn't sleep because
That was a nice truck. Oh, these are female hands. Oh, to you female drivers, ensure that you're safe out here. I don't know how you guys do this and let you're well prepared for anything that could possibly happen. Please stay safe. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you.
part of his brain stayed up listening. If you were running Interstate 70 through St. Louis, fuel and roll, and take your break on the far side of the metro where the map is quieter. Coffee is everywhere. This particular Love's is a name to know. Quick pit stop.
They're all
before
over
the
the
heavy
place.
stuff.
Loves.
If this list is keeping you off even one
I
bad
see my first love in Georgia, guys. I think we have one in my state of Florida because they're popping up all over. And I think they're coming from up north. I'm not sure. Or is it Midwest? If anybody knows, please leave it in the comment. Please do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
bad exit, hit subscribe. It's free. And unlike a
It's
reefer
free.
unit,
Hit
it will never
subscribe.
fail on you at 3 in the morning in a lot you didn't want to be in. Number 10, Interstate 64, Central Virginia, predatory towing country. Here's the entry that fits even in an emergency better than any other because the emergency is the trap. On this list, a breakdown isn't just a delay.
No.
In a predatory towing corridor, it's an invitation for a second, bigger disaster to roll up on a hook. The example that made the industry pay attention happened right here. A carrier hauling a load of cheese ended up in a ditch on Interstate 64 in Central Virginia.
No. Wait, hold up, guys. A truckload of cheese. I wonder, do people run up? Well, sometimes they do. They'll run up and grab and go. However, let's continue. Please subscribe.
And the bill
and
to
like.
pull one truck out came back at more than $202,000.
What?
That's not a freak. The American Transportation Research Institute studied heavy-duty towing invoices and found that nearly 30% of crash-related tows.
Guys, this is where the money's at. If you want to make really a lot of money quickly, invest in a tow truck for 18-wheelers vehicle. This right here, guys. I didn't realize that it costs so much. It costs them $2,000 to tow this truck. Okay, let's continue.
Contained predatory billing. Around 83% of carriers reported being hit with excessive rates, about 82% with unwarranted extra charges. And
guys, one quick thing, and I hope that you guys got the rest that you needed last night. Back when they were doing a lot of scamming because they would have somebody to hit them or they hit the car and they will use it for insurance purposes. So you best believe the boys have been on this boots on the ground for years because this is a multi-millionaire moneymaker for criminals. Let's continue.
And storage fees pile up at a median of $120 a day while your equipment sits hostage. Drivers around the country have reported six-figure hits for a single tow.
Jeez.
The mechanism is that you don't get to shop. When you're disabled on the shoulder, whoever shows up is whoever the rotation sends, and you're in no
What?
position to negotiate. The
What?
cost is a bill that can exceed your insurance limits, at which point the difference comes out of the carrier or the driver. The move is boring, but it saves careers. Know your company's approved wrecker, photograph and video everything before, during, and after, and don't sign a blank invoice a tower hands you at the scene. The breakdown was the accident. The tow is where they get you. Number 9, the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, US 50 and 301.
So, guys, one moment. So, does that mean that if they have to get a tow, it comes out of the truck driver's pocket? Is that what they're saying? If that's so, that's not good. Let's continue.
Maryland. Now the literal version. This is the road where you cannot stop, even if your life depends on it, because there's nowhere to put the truck. The Bay Bridge runs 4.3 miles across open water between Sandy Point and Stevensville. It has been carrying
Oh
traffic
my
since 1952,
goodness.
and it has no shoulders.
It's almost like Key
Once
West,
you're on,
Florida.
you're committed, deck to deck, with nothing but a rail between you and the Chesapeake. It scares people so badly that a cottage industry exists just to get them across. For about $40, a company will send a driver to take
Oh
the wheel
my
and pilot
goodness.
terrified motorists over the span. And on busy days, dozens of people take them up on it. Then there's the wind. Maryland restricts and closes the bridge based on
Guys, I advise you, if you don't know how to swim, you might not want to get in a car and go across these long bridges like that. Seriously, I'm a Floridian. I tell everybody that about Key West, Florida. If you cannot swim, do not get on that bridge to head to Key West because there's no in and out. Let's continue.
gusts, pulling certain trailers off entirely around 50 miles per hour and halting all traffic when sustained winds hit roughly 55 miles per hour. High-profile bridges have literally had vehicles go over the side in the past. For a driver, the exposure is total. A blown steer tire, a stalled engine, a sudden crosswind, any of it hits you in a place with no escape and no shoulder to limp to. The cost is that a routine mechanical problem becomes an 18-mile emergency you have to nurse across at reduced speed with both hands locked on the wheel. Check the wind restrictions before you commit, keep your speed down, and understand that on a span like this, there is no such thing.
They're actually supposed to close the bridges when the winds get up to 32 miles per hour. And this I would know. I'm a born Floridian. And when we have hurricanes to come through, the bridges close. And this is the number that they always close the bridges at 32 miles per hour winds. So it should be set like this for every state. Let's continue.
Thing is pulling over. You finish the crossing, or you're a rolling roadblock over deep water. Number 8, Interstate
Please
10,
subscribe,
New
guys.
Orleans
Thank
East,
you.
Louisiana. This is the road that sets you up on purpose, and the story behind it is almost hard to believe. Starting around 2015, one 14-mile stretch of Interstate 10 through New Orleans East saw an impossible surge in wrecks between passenger cars and 18-wheelers. Sideswipe crashes went from about 69 in a single year up to nearly 200. Every car seemed to be packed with occupants, and a convenient witness always happened to be nearby. An LSU statistician put the odds of that pattern happening by chance at 1 in 750 trillion. It was not chance. It was a fraud ring built on slammers, drivers who deliberately crashed into big rigs to generate.
That was the word I was looking for, guys. Slammers. This is when it's orchestrated by the truck driver and whomever is in the car. They're called slammers. And guys, this used to be so bad. The insurance company had to pay out so much money for this. But now with data, I would advise that not to go on. Let's continue.
Generate injury claims and lawsuits. Investigators described one of the ringleaders stalking trucks like a lion trailing a wildebeest, waiting for a lane change signal,
Oh my
then accelerating
goodness.
into the blind spot. After impact, he would slide out of the driver's seat, walk off, and get picked up by a spotter car. The New Yorker called that stretch an asphalt Bermuda Triangle that truckers learned to avoid. The mechanism here
Cargo
is that you
theft.
can do everything right and still get hit on purpose, which is the darkest possible version of a forced stop. The cost
Wow.
is a staged wreck with your name on the report, a
Oh,
fraudulent
for one,
injury.
guys, listen, they cannot do that easily because they have cameras in the truck now, and the cameras are usually looking straight away. So that's a good thing because this is nonsense. They're only trying to get the freight to where it has to go. I'm talking about for anything from cheese, milk, or your oils, your our petroleum, pardon me, horses, just anything that you can think of. These are carriers for that. And if because in some cases they go to the port and pick the freight up, or they may go to the place of business to pick the freight up, but the ports are very, very big. I know a lot about the port. I'm Miami and Port of Miami. I have a lot of family that works there. So I know the inner workings of it. And it is cray, guys. Let's continue. Please do subscribe.
Claim aimed at your carrier and a scene you have to sit in surrounded by the people who engineered it. Run your following distance long through New Orleans East. Keep your dash cam rolling every second. And if
Right,
a car settles into your blind spot and hangs there, assume it is fishing. On this
right.
road, the crash is the product. Number 7.
The term fishing, guys, mean luring, like you're luring somebody to do something or to give you something, such as information when you get a spam call. That's called phishing. This is a banking terminology that I've learned in corporate back when, before federal. So pay attention. Know when someone's phishing and you feel like this uncomfortable ease, do not give out any information. Do not stop. Do not talk. Things like that. Okay, let's continue.
New Jersey Turnpike, exits 13 and 13A, Newark and Elizabeth ports. If the last one was about being forced to stop, this one is about the
Now, sorry guys, in Jersey, yeah, they were very, very known for this. I literally, guys, literally had a cousin that he was dropping freight off in Trent, Jersey, and he called me. It was 4 o'clock in the morning, and he went into this project, or yeah, the projects, the community, and it was a one way, and it so happened it was one nice guy out there who didn't feel like robbing him that night or taking the freight. He was like, "Dude, we gotta get you out of here like ASAP." So the guy helped him get out. I was on the phone the whole time. Guys, it's nerve wracking when you have family on the road being truckers because of the danger that they could encounter. And they will always call me. I'm like, what can't you guys call another family member? But I'm always 65 24/7 for anyone who has needs. So it's okay. Let's continue.
trap that waits when you age. The port
Please
complex
subscribe,
packed
guys.
around exits 13 and 13A is the beating heart of the fastest heating cargo theft market in the country. CargoNet had New Jersey cargo theft up 50% for all of 2025. And in the third quarter alone, it spiked 110% as the New York Metro turned into both a hunting ground and a market big enough to absorb entire loads with no questions asked. The crews here even have a specialty, and it sounds almost funny until it's your trailer humming in the dark. Meat and seafood. Reefer loads
Oh,
of
this is a
protein are
big
among the
one,
most
guys. This is
targeted
a
freight
big
in the
snatch right
Northeast
here.
because
Seafood, look at this. All that crab, lobster, clams, oysters. Look at all this. This is a big money maker. This and electronics, guys, is usually what they go after. Let's continue.
a trailer of beef has no serial numbers and an entire metro ready to buy it. Food and beverage was the single biggest growing theft category nationwide in 2025, up 47%. For a driver,
I'm just
the
having
port
coffee,
itself is
guys.
controlled chaos. But the trap is the wait. You tuck into some lot off Dormus Avenue for a birth
Jersey
appointment,
Turnpike.
and your reefer sits there like a ringing dinner bell for hours. The cost is a full trailer gone, or a few back pallets quietly vanished. Sorted out
It's just
afterward
funny
in
how he says
stages,
it, guys.
tow
I'm
trucks
sorry.
are nearly as famous as its thieves. Don't stage on the street near the port. Burn the extra time to a real secured yard and let somebody else's reefer be the interesting one tonight. If you've nodded at even one of these so far, tap that like button. The algorithm likes the way a shipper treats detention pay.
Right.
Pretends
Please
not
like
to
and
notice,
subscribe,
then
guys.
eventually quietly pays out. Number 6, Fulton Industrial Boulevard and Interstate 285, Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta gives you both flavors of danger on one
East
stretch
side.
of West Side. Fulton Industrial Boulevard, just off Interstate 20, is a name that makes Southeast drivers wince. Miles of warehouses and drop yards whose gates don't open until morning. Cargo security firms name this road specifically.
Look at all this
and tell
freight,
drivers
guys.
not to stage
Oh
there
my
at all.
goodness.
Because theft crews actively work it and know exactly which product moves through which building. You roll in at 9 at night for an 8 a.m. MEM dock. Dispatch says stage close, and close means Fulton Industrial. That's the setup. Then there's the loop it feeds. Interstate 285, the 64-mile perimeter that Atlanta locals call the Circle of Death, has been ranked the deadliest interstate in the country by fatal crashes per mile, roughly 3.5 fatal crashes for every 10 miles, well above the national average for urban interstates, with around 2 million vehicles a day and a brutal mix of commuters and commercial traffic.
And Atlanta
So
is so
stacks.
small. It's
If you
just
stage
one
on
small
Fulton,
circle.
You risk the classic morning discovery of a cut seal and an empty floor. And if you break down on the perimeter itself, you're stopped on a road that kills people at record rates, in traffic that doesn't slow for anyone. Deliver. Don't sleep on the boulevard, and treat any forced stop on Interstate 285 as a genuine emergency to get out of,
285.
not a place to sort out a problem. Everybody in Atlanta Freight already knows both halves of this. Now you do too.
Now you
Number
do
5,
too.
Chicago Rail Crossings and the Dan Ryan, Illinois. Chicago is one of the areas the FBI has flagged for cargo theft. Cook County is one of the county's cargo net singles out year after year, and the crews here added some.
When I worked for Bank of America, I did a lot of mortgages out of Cook County. Oh my G. Let's continue, guys. That just triggered me, that word, Cook County. And they were very difficult, some of them. Okay, guys, I'm trying to get my okay, let's
Something
continue.
Genuinely ugly to the national playbook, the forced daylight stop. In early 2025, a truck hauling electronics out of Chicago had barely left its origin when several cars boxed it in at a railroad crossing. While the driver sat trapped with nowhere to go, men got out, cut a high-security seal, and started unloading the trailer in broad daylight in front of witnesses. The driver photographed it as it happened. Security analysts who documented it warned that this open daytime box them in style is what you normally see in countries with far worse cargo crime, and it has arrived.
This, guys.
The same guidance told Chicago area drivers to assume they might be surveilled at pickup and followed out of the gate, because local crews know precisely what moves through which facility. That's what puts this one so high. It's the purest expression of the whole video. A stop you couldn't refuse, a rail crossing, a red light, a jam on the Dan Ryan, turned into a robbery while you watched. The cost is pilfered freight you had no way to prevent, and a claims process that eyes you like a suspect. Anyway, if you load high value...
If in any case I was a truck driver, I wouldn't, if I see anything look suspicious or dangerous, I'll run the red light or whatever. I'm not going to stop, but I don't know. It's to each his own. Some people just, my reflex is very fast, guys. I think that's what it is. I'm not going to play around with you because I don't want to hurt you and I don't want you hurting me. So, hey, one of us got to do something. Let's continue.
value out of Chicago, run your mirrors like you're paranoid, skip your first stop for a couple hundred miles. And if a car peels out of the gate right when you do, report it. Being boxed in is the trap, and you can't back out of a crossing. Number 2, the Inland Empire,
Ooh,
I-10 and I-15, Ontario and Fontana, California.
I-10.
The runner-up is the capital.
Guys, do you know I-10 runs all the way down to Florida? This was a major hub for, back when. Let's continue. But I-10 right here, people didn't want to drive I-10 if they was doing things they had no business. Trust me. Let's continue.
Warehouse belt, where I-10 and I-15 cross around Ontario and Fontana, is wall-to-wall distribution centers.
Looky, guys, look at all
in the
this.
state that leads the nation in
Jeez.
cargo theft.
Look at all
by a mile.
this.
California logged 1,208.
That is huge. I'm sorry, guys. This is where they pick the freight up from. Look at all this freaking freight. When the freight ends up here, that means either they're on the port or they just got it off the port and brought it to the pickup ground. Let's continue.
Cargo theft incidents in 2025, and California and Texas together accounted for 58% of everything stolen off America's supply chain.
58%.
San Bernardino County, the heart of the Inland Empire, is one of the specific counties analysts flagged by
Hi,
name.
Anna.
And the money went vertical.
Hi, thanks for joining. Please do subscribe.
Nearly $274,000 in 2025, up 36% in a single year, while total national losses reached about $725 million, up 60.
Hey guys, I want to say something really fast. It just said 427. I keep seeing that number. I don't play lotto, but I'm gonna play the Powerball, seeing I'm in Florida. So I'm not trying to tell you guys to do anything illegal. It's not. You can play lotto, but 427 is the number. Hey, who knows? You may hit or I may hit, but I keep seeing that number. Let's continue.
8%. Same number of crimes, far bigger scores, because the crews got selective. They now identify enterprise computer hardware and high-value electronics moving as plain dry freight out of these very warehouses.
Anna, I hope that you had a nice rest last night and have a good day too as well.
And take exactly those trailers. Warehouses and distribution centers are more than a third of all theft locations nationwide, and the Inland Empire is carpeted with them.
Wow.
For a driver, that means any high-value load out of the I-10 and I-15 corridor should be treated as evaluated from the second you clear the shipper's gate. A forced stop here, traffic, a tire, a staging order happens inside the single densest theft environment in the country.
Jeez.
The cost is a career-sized
The radius
plane
was so
riding
small,
behind your
guys.
cab.
Oh my
Guard it
goodness.
like it's yours, because for one night it is. Put real miles down before your first stop. And if the Inland Empire is only the runner-up, you already know the last one is a different.
He just made that sound like he was talking to a female. He said, a female that belongs to you, guard it like it's yours, because it is for one night. Oh my goodness. It made me think about a movie too. Let's continue, guys.
Animal entirely. The number one road is coming. Subscribe if you haven't, because fuel already took your money and dispatch already took your weekend. The least I can do is hand you a free map of where not to get robbed. Tap it and let's finish. Number 4, Interstate 20 at Hutchins, Dallas, Texas.
Dallas,
Before
Texas.
the top 3, 2 Texas giants, and this is the first. Hutchins is the truck stop row on the south side of Dallas.
You guys should have known Texas was going to be on the list, because we all know what's in Texas, don't we? If you don't, think about it until you hear him say it, because I'm not going to tell you. I need you guys to educate yourself. Let's continue.
Interstate 45 meets Interstate 20. And if you run Texas, it might be the most natural stop on your whole route. That's exactly the problem. Dallas County is one of the handful of counties analysts single out nationally, and the Dallas-Fort Worth corridor is one of the most active theft zones in the country, with the truck stops
in
along
the
Interstate 20
country
near Hutchins called out. as especially high risk. The mechanism is
Please subscribe,
patience.
guys.
Crews sit in those lots like fishermen at a stocked pond, marking trailers rolling off the Dallas warehouses and noting which drivers walk inside for a shower. Then they either hit the trailer where it sleeps or tail it up the road to somewhere quieter. Security people have a standing rule for hot loads. Don't take your first stop for around 200 miles, and Hutchins is where that rule goes to die, because it sits exactly where every driver leaving Dallas wants coffee, and every load leaving Dallas is still worth full price. The cost is an electronics or food load gone, and a sinking radio call to dispatch that opens with, "You are not going."
The mechanism that he's speaking on, guys, by them stopping at Hutchinson to get coffee, but before they're leaving out of Texas, is that if you are a criminal and you're eyeing them, you know that possibly 98% of them are going to stop for coffee that morning after a layover. So what's going to happen is they have time to jump in your 18 wheeler and do damage. This is what the mechanism means, is what he's speaking on. Let's continue.
Not going to believe this. If your load is hot, blow past Hutchins on principle and stop in some town the crews haven't memorized. Number 3, East Loop 610 and I-45, Houston, Texas. Houston is the second Texas heavyweight, and analysts specifically name it, alongside Los Angeles, San Bernardino, and Dallas, as one of the metros where cargo theft is concentrating. Layer on Houston's status as one of the carjacking capitals of the country and its habit of flooding fast enough to strand traffic on the freeway, and you get a metro where a stop for any reason carries real risk. The trap in Houston is the East Loop and the industrial corridors off I-45, packed with yards and staging lots where high-value freight sits between the port, the rail, and the warehouses. A truck parked and waiting is a truck being watched, and the crews here are as organized as anywhere in Texas.
Wow, he looks militant.
Then there's the weather wild card. When Houston floods, drivers get boxed onto elevated freeway with nowhere to go, and a stationary truck in rising water is a genuine emergency, not an inconvenience. The cost runs from a lightened trailer to a driver caught out in a carjacking.
Interesting.
Equipment swamped in a flash flood. The move is the same discipline as everywhere else, just with a Houston twist. Stage inside secured yards, never on a dark frontage road. And when the sky opens up, get off the loop before the underpasses fill. In Houston, the danger comes from 3 directions at once: crime, congestion, and water. And a stopped truck is vulnerable to all 3. Number 1, Lamar Avenue, Interstate 240, and Winchester Road, Memphis, Tennessee. Half of you said Memphis out loud a while ago. Nothing else in America has a rap sheet like this corridor. Memphis is one of the areas the FBI singled out, and it is serious enough that the city has its own dedicated federal cargo theft task force working alongside the marshals and local police. This is the freight belt running southeast out of the...
Guys, don't think it's just Memphis that they're side by side working with law enforcement. Trust me. Let's continue.
City, Lamar Avenue, the Interstate 240 loop, and Winchester Road, past rail yards and distribution parks that move a huge share of the nation's goods. What lands it at number 1 for a never stop list is that Memphis crews went violent and went daylight. On a June morning in 2025, a surveillance camera caught 2 cars pulling up to a tractor trailer waiting to drop its load near a Nike distribution center. 2 men walked up with a cutting grinder and started unloading boxes, while a third kept watch.
Look at this, guys. These people are crazy.
They punched him square in the face and went right back to looting the trailer. In a separate incident, drivers were hit in broad daylight on Winchester Road by armed men in ski masks. This is the road where the daylight boxing in from Chicago, the staging traps from Atlanta, and the reputation of every bad
Jeez,
exit
look
in
at
the
that. Look at
country
this strand,
all come
guys.
together on one stretch of asphalt. The industry has priced it in. The head of the American Trucking Association's pegs cargo theft as a $35 billion a year problem. And carriers hauling into Memphis have said plainly that their drivers unload and then drive 30 minutes out of town before they will even take a motel. Remember that national retailers do not stop list from earlier? Memphis is the city where that kind of corporate warning got written in the first place. Companies deciding that specific addresses in this freight belt were simply too dangerous to touch. So what does Lamar and its neighbors actually cost a driver? Everything this whole countdown covered, stacked onto one corridor, with the added feature that here they will put hands on you in the middle of a workday while you are doing your job exactly right.
So please be careful, guys, of these thugs out here. I want you to see. Look at that thug. I just feel like using the word because it pisses me off when people are here trying to make a living and you got to deal with this type of thing. This is just crazy, you know? So, oh my God. Okay, guys, it's too early. We're going to stay calm. Sometimes you guys have to tell me, all in, calm down. Okay. Okay. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please do rewind back. And all of you truckers out there, please do stay safe. And whatever you do, you want to make it home safely. So your life matters most. If it's in danger, disclaimer, but you have the right to protect yourself. All in Ecoline Lifestyle. Thank you guys.